me your whole shirt. I think it's pretty cool what you got.
Oh. Hustle recognizes hustle.
That is so true. That is so true. And tonight, we want to talk about something that I think some people consider controversial, maybe others don't, but that being blind copy. And I wanted to give my definition of blind copy and then get yours, Dave. But to me, blind copy is where you're kind of finding out in a sense what you're buying after the fact. Kind of. What are your thoughts when you hear blind copy?
Well, I never really saw blind copy until I started seeing some of your sales copy. I think you're the master of blind copy, and that's why I thought, man, this would be a good topic to talk about, But to me, blind copy is like a magic trick. You're reading the sales copy, it's intriguing you, it's building curiosity, and you know just enough to go, yeah, I want that. I don't know what the heck this strategy is, but I want the strategy. And then once you actually buy the product, then you're shown the secret, the strategy.
Yeah, and I think so too. I mean, again, people have different views on it, and to me, I'll use blind copy if it's kind of a lower ticket product and I'm revealing a source. I'm revealing something kind of new. Now there'll be more to it than that, but I feel like if I'm telling you the source up front, it depends on what it is, but that it's just like you said with the magic trick. If a magician shows you a trick, you're like, that's amazing. It's like, okay, we'll pay to find out how to do it. And then once you find out the magic trick, you're like, oh, well, all you did was you just kind of did this little sleight of hand. So there's a place for it. And it certainly keeps people's interest. Now, again, people will talk. They say, I hate blind copy or whatever, but it's an interesting way to write copy. And I don't always do that all the time now. It just depends on what it is, but it is what it is, Now, like any kind of copy, I feel like if you're getting somebody to buy something is wanting to, you need more, or there's something else you want to get, especially if it's an information product, right? Someone could say, okay, well, this product is about Facebook ads. Okay, well, the product's about Facebook ads, but you don't know everything about it until you buy the actual product. That's not considered blind copy, right? Yeah. To me, blind copy is, well, I've got this really cool thing I'm going to show you, and maybe it gets you a bunch of traffic, but I'm not. You find out what it is when you buy it. To me, that's the essence of blind copy.
Yeah, and it really makes sense in some of the products that you come out with, James, because they're so cutting edge, they're so new that if you give away, for example, where that traffic is coming from, like if you were to say, hey, this is a new strategy with LinkedIn. Well, somebody could go over to LinkedIn and go, hey, what's the newest thing with LinkedIn? And then find out. And then it's kind of like the secret is out. So there's some cases where it makes total ethical sense to keep that little bit of information out of the copy. But more importantly, I think what's interesting about blind copy is it's kind of the essence of copy. The essence of copy is, here's the big benefit you want. Do you want it? Once you buy this course, you'll learn how to get that benefit. So I don't think there's anything unethical about it. Although it is, I'm sure, we can talk a little bit about how controversial it might be, especially in the make money online world that we come from,
Yeah, and there's levels of it. So, like, for example, when you and I did a product, it was on LinkedIn, and we specified that it was LinkedIn, right? But it still had an essence of blind, because there's a certain point where you need to go further to buy that product to find out the thing. And we started. Now we didn't even necessarily have to say it was LinkedIn, but we did. Right. But then the next step was, well, there was a new functionality of LinkedIn that we didn't talk about. It. That part was blind. But where do you stop? Where is that line? Right. Is it not okay to mention? Is it not okay to mention that it's not? I'm doing double negative here. But is it not okay to not mention LinkedIn? Or you should have mentioned it, but then it's not okay to mention this other part. At what point do you stop? without
Right.
giving the whole product away.
The whole thing away. Yeah. In that particular case with the LinkedIn course, which was only what, 2 or 3 months ago, about 3 months ago, we had something above and beyond just, hey, here's a cool new strategy.
Right.
We had a killer case study. We had a guy who turned $75 into $90,000, which sounds ridiculous.
Which is insane, but it's true.
But it's true. And so we were able to more highlight, hey, this isn't just a strategy you can probably go find out about. Here's a specific way this guy turned $75 in ad spend into $90,000 in revenue. So that became what we were selling more than the strategy itself. Because in that case, we could give away that it was LinkedIn, because they could go and go check it out. They could go and kind of maybe figure it out, Google it. What's LinkedIn's newest thing? What's in beta right now? And still not know how to turn $75 into $90,000. Right. So we had this thing that kind of superseded the fact that it was a new strategy. But if all we had was the new strategy and no case study like that, no killer case study like that, then we'd be more private with, where you find the strategy.
Yeah.
But even when we're private with the strategy, with where you find the strategy, you can still allude to and hint at what kind of benefit they're going to get, what kind of traffic. Like if, let's say that we didn't have this case study, you could still say, hey, this is a traffic source that's normally super expensive, but we found a low cost way to do it. And you never give away the traffic source, but you then sell different benefit points, right? To hit at. I think blind copy is a killer way to get good at sales copy, frankly, because when you're marketing something without really giving it without really telling what it is, you have to work extra hard to focus them on the benefits they're going to get. And
yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, and I go back and forth on how deep you want, and that's like with anything with copywriting or any kind of sales page. How deep do you go? You want people to be excited. Obviously, you want them to get something of value, and that they're going to use a course that really helps them. But there's that fine line with, you want to get people excited. If people are reading your copy and they're not excited to buy, they're not going to buy. And sometimes, depending on what it is, blind copy can get some people excited. Now, other people will say, no, this is blind copy. I can't stand it. It just depends, but it has its place. And it's an interesting style of copy to kind of allude to something. And I think it's interesting to me. People sometimes say, how do you sell this? How do you sell and people just, they know me, they know my products, they buy it. It is what it is. It's a neat thing. It's a challenging thing sometimes.
Now this brings up a question in my mind, because blind copy seems very, very well suited to the make money online world that we're in, right? It seems very well suited, but are there other places where blind copy is used or can be used?
I'm sure and see, here's the thing. People sometimes have this copy is blind or it's not. Where I see in a lot of copy, there's nuances to it being blind, right? Yeah. So whatever the niche is, it's the health niche, and I had, let's just as an example, or I'm making this on the fly. I have problem with acne or something like that. And I've tried all these things and nothing worked. Well, I have this, it's going to help. It's this. It's still blind. In the end, you're buying something to fix your acne, but you still don't really know what it is. Right. Yep. It could be anything. There's essences of blind to anything, right? I'm going to show you how to make courses. Well, why? There's all kinds of courses on how to make courses. Why are you better? Well, I'm better because, I'm whatever. I found some new way, or I have a cool story, or whatever. Yep. But it's but I have some secret ways that I do it, and that you're still not necessarily, when you're selling a course, you're not always just saying, well, here's exactly the 30 modules you're going to get. Some do, but some don't. Is that blind? Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's actually literally the secret sauce to sales copy.
But I think there always needs to be some, especially when you're talking about an information product, there needs to be some mystery to it.
Yep.
But there's levels of how deep you want to go with it. I think you always need to be as transparent as possible. But if the product is basically revealing something, like revealing a new traffic source, well, then you're not necessarily going to state what that traffic source is, if that's the whole point of why you're buying the product, is to find out what that traffic source is.
Exactly.
So there's different layers to it, and people are going to always have opinions on it. But it's one neat tactic to have in copywriting, is to have that kind of level of some degree mystery, and some may call that blind copy.
Yeah. Yeah. And before we wrap up, I'm curious, what are some of the negative statements made about blind copy? You've probably heard a bunch.
Well, I've had some positives. I have sold a lot of products, but
no, I mean, because you've sold so many products, you've probably heard a bunch of different, or you're probably very familiar with the main objections to blind copy.
Yeah, well, the biggest objection someone would have when they consider the copy blind is that they get the product and they say, well, I didn't like the product because I didn't know what I was getting before I bought it. It kind of sounds kind of funny because, well, yeah, you knew you didn't know what you were getting before you bought it.
Right.
You're mad when you buy it because you didn't know what you're getting when you bought it.
Right.
But, it's just some people that
sounds more like an excuse to get a refund.
Yeah.
Which is prevalent in our particular space.
Or if someone says, if I knew it was going to be about this, I wouldn't have bought it. And a lot of times my products is like, I know there's no products out on this. I'm the first one to come out with it, and you're going to tell me that you know everything about this. Whatever. You hear it all. Just like the higher price points your products get, the more at first, like if it's a lower price product, it's something like, I just wasn't satisfied with it. I want my money back. If it's a higher price product, it's like, oh, I've come down with cancer. And I'm sure there's some people that come down with cancer. I'm not saying that's not happening, but it's like when every second refund is you came down with cancer, somebody's lying.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's some of the things I chuckle about when people want to refund a product. But that's the biggest thing, is that if someone buys from blind copy, they might not be happy when, because they didn't know what they were buying. Yeah. They say they didn't know what they're buying. Again, there's levels to it. Like with that LinkedIn product we have, I wouldn't say that was blind copy, but someone else could make the argument that it was to a degree. But it's an interesting subject.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's fairly unique to this particular world that we're in. I haven't seen too much of blind copy. As you said, there's a whole level. There's levels to it, right?
Yeah.
It reminds me of a strategy that I teach people, and that is sell them what they want and give them what they need. Mm-hmm. And sell them what they want means, hey, here's all the benefits you're looking for. I have them right here on a silver platter. Here, order it, buy it. Give them what they need means, here's how you get to this result. Now, how you get to this result might require work, might require discipline, it might require, focus. But you wanted the result. Here's how to get the result. There's nothing, unintegrous about that. You're actually giving them what they want. It's just a strategy to get what they want.
Right.
And I don't think that would be considered blind unless you just outright don't give them much detail on it, up front. But even then, you're still having high integrity by showing them how to get what they want. Right. So I think it's a fascinating idea, this blind copy. I don't like I said, James, I don't know if I was ever exposed to blind copy until I started seeing some of your products. And I'm just not saying you're the first one to do it. I'm sure that other people have done it. Hey, did you learn blind copy from others? I'm assuming.
I don't remember. It's been so long now, but I just remember one time, I'd never heard that term blind copy, and somebody was saying, this guy's copy is blind. And there was this whole discussion about, and I'm there reading it, this guy doesn't be part of this group, and he just kept talking about blind copy. I remember that from then on. I'm like, okay, I guess this copy is blind. I hadn't heard a term for that, but well aware of that term now. For many years.
And just to be clear with people, there are circumstances where there are real situations where you need to be a little secretive about what you're going to teach in your course. There have been circumstances where I literally invented a way to do certain things, right? I invented a way to get my online courses for sale on Amazon, which Amazon does not allow, doesn't do, but I figured out a kind of a loophole way to do this. Well, when I'm teaching that and nobody else is teaching that, nobody else has done that, I literally invented something. I don't want to just
crazy good product.
Pardon me?
That was a crazy good product.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that was amazing. I don't want to just give it away, and I don't want to give away too much detail because then people might conceivably figure it out. Now, in that one, there's no way they could have figured it out. I went through so many little rabbit trails to kind of put a bunch of things together. But the bottom line is there are real circumstances where you need to be secretive about your, let's call it a trade secret that you're putting into a course. And in those circumstances, blind copy makes total sense.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. You can get deep with copy and the nuances of it, and this is one level of copy. And a lot of people don't realize how deep that world goes, with some copywriters getting paid a lot of money for the words that they're putting on the sales page, and just how important that is. And it's just like anything. It's like politics. It's like, you're talking about sports teams. People have some really deep-rooted opinions on how copy should or shouldn't be. And blind copy to some people is a topic that they certainly have opinions on. So I think it's interesting to talk about it, to be aware of it, and know that it is a tactic that's used.
Absolutely.
Well, I think this was a fun talk. I'm glad I'm like the guru, Dave, to you for
you are.
But it's again, it's something that I use sometimes I don't. It just depends on the product, in my perspective, whether or not that's to be used. Where I do like to come out with new strategies, sometimes that's the big angle of the product. That this is new. There hasn't been a course on it. Therefore, that's part of the reveal, if you want to call it. I think blind copy has kind of a negative connotation to it, so I don't like to necessarily call it that. I think sometimes a product is a reveal. At least that's how I look at it. But anyway, it's interesting. I'd love to hear what some people's comments or thoughts are on it. And if you're seeing this, of course, depending on where you're viewing this on Facebook, love a like, or your comments, love a subscribe. Let me show a couple of things here. Number one, if you go to entrepreneurdojo.info, that's how you can get subscribed to the YouTube channel. Again, that's entrepreneurdojo.info. If you're on YouTube watching this, of course, subscribe. And then also I have a group. If you go to jamesrenouf.com/group, that is a Facebook group, internet marketing discussion group. Love to have you in there, where you can see these videos also. And then we're trying to get that going into a bigger group. But again, thank you, Dave. And thank you, all of you that are watching this, wherever you're watching it. And we will see you next time.
Yep. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.